All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hope everybody's doing well. And we'll go ahead and get started here. So, Brandy, we have our minutes from last time to approve, correct?
Yes. Well, we usually do introductions.
That's right. See,
Okay.
I need help. Let's see. T, I'll let you go first because you're in my upper left corner. So.
Okay, good morning. I'm T. Hewlett from the Kentucky Department of Education. I do capital projects for you.
Peggy?
Hey, good morning. I'm Peggy Sinclair Morrison. I'm the principal at KSB.
Brandy.
Oh, hi, I'm Brandy Hitzelberger, and is my camera on? Okay, sorry, I just see a big B. And I am a parent. I don't know. That's it.
Mike?
Yep, everybody, I'm Mike Flynn, and I'm a parent as well.
Carol, we'll go with you next.
Good morning. I'm Ann Morrison. I'm the director of the state schools, and I started in that role the 1st of August, so it's still fairly new.
And Gary, I'll let you go next.
Good morning. I'm Gary Mudd with the American Printing House for the Blind.
I'm Janelle Turner. I am the board chair, and I work with the Kentucky Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. So, is that everybody? Jason's just here to do the technology pay. Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, now we can move on to the minutes.
Who is here? Sorry.
What's that?
Who else is here?
Jason Harmon. He's doing our streaming on Facebook.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
It's okay. All right. So our next thing would be, I guess, approval of our minutes from the last meeting. I don't know, did anyone see anything that needed to be changed? No. Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the July meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Let's see. I believe the next thing on our agenda is, well, that's not it. An update on KSB from Peggy.
So right now, we still have students on virtual learning. We do have some students coming onto campus to receive instruction that cannot be provided virtually. I believe we have 6 students currently that are doing that. So really, you know, we're John Aaron, our facilities manager, has been ordering PPE like crazy. So we're stocked up. We have all the PPE that has been recommended in the guidance documents. As of right now, teachers, all staff are supposed to return to campus tomorrow. However, you know, we know that Jefferson County has gone into the red, so we're having a discussion later in the day today to make a determination on that. So As far as other updates, we're supposed to have some small group instruction beginning next week, which would include opening the dorm. As of today, I believe we have 2 students that will be returning to the dorm, but we're having IEP meetings are being held throughout the week. And again, these are the small groups we are possibly bringing back. Again, were students that had difficulty accessing virtual instruction. The opening for all students is slated for November 9th, but again, you know, having to take into account lots of factors as to whether or not that will actually happen. We did send out a survey to parents and to staff about 3 weeks ago as far as whether staff, you know, what their thoughts were on returning, and as well with parents. So about 60% of staff were not comfortable or possibly lived or had contact with somebody in the high-risk group, or they themselves did. Parents, it was, I can't think of the percentage off the top of my head, but I think most parents were considering having their kids come back to in-person learning. And then last week we sent out a notice to families that did they want their kids to return to in-person November 9th or to continue with virtual learning, because we are going to continue with that option even when and if we return to in-person instruction. And so as of now, we've had 49 responses. 11 have chosen to remain virtual. 38 want their students to return to campus. And
How many
as far as-
students do we have total? Sorry.
we have 66 students total. So staff will be reaching out to those that we haven't heard from. And again, how many of those are dorm staff? I don't know or dorm students. I don't know the exact number, but probably 25 to 30 of our students are dorm students. And that includes, there are some Jefferson County students that do stay in the dorms.
So, sorry, if they're Jefferson County students, will they still be able to stay in the dorm, or will you be sending them home? What? Will
Well,
they still?
Yeah, that'll be determined by the IEP, by the ARC.
Are
And-
all this, I'm sorry,
No, go
Brandy.
ahead, Janelle. No, go ahead.
All the school districts agreeing to transport, or have you had any that are saying they don't want to?
Well, you know, technically the districts are legally obligated to provide transportation. We have not had those. We've had a couple conversations where the districts have said, sure, no problem. We have not broached that with Jefferson County yet.
Okay.
So I think that I heard you say you're going to have a conversation about them. Jefferson County is in the red, and you're going to have a conversation about what will happen. It's my understanding that if the county is in the red, the governor and KDE recommended you not go to school. And with Jefferson County, Bullitt, Shelby, so many districts around us where we pull from, what would be the question? Why would we even think about sending our kids to school when we're in the red?
Can I jump in there, Peggy? Do you
Sure.
mind?
No, sure.
Yes, that's a great question, Brandy. And so according to the metric and the color system put out by DPH, in the red, they say to consider virtual instruction only. They do, if I'm remembering correctly, they do share that you could still have some small groups on campus, and it doesn't speak specifically to staff on campus. So those are some of the things that we really want to think through this afternoon and discuss regarding our part of our reopening plan. Does that make sense?
But you're still considering having students?
I believe in the metric, and I'll pull it up and make sure I'm not misspeaking, but I believe in the red zone, there's still some allowances for small group instruction. And I'll pull that up just to make sure I'm not telling you that wrong. So we just want to consider everything in making our decision.
Yeah, that's correct. I looked at the metrics this morning, Caroline, and that it
Thanks,
did
Peggy.
say you can allow for small, very small groups of kids.
Okay, a small group, and, as long as not the full staff and small group, would not be there, and we're not sending all of our kids back, I would be very uncomfortable with that. I feel like
Brandy, just to clarify, so I have your thoughts there. Are you saying that you would be uncomfortable with even the small group, or that you'd be okay with that but uncomfortable with the whole campus full of all students?
a whole campus full of
Gotcha.
all students and
Okay.
staff. I feel like, a very small group, probably similar to what they're doing right now, or I feel like we have other options probably that I don't know if they've been talked about or not, but, maybe those kids that aren't getting instruction, maybe if there's some teachers that are comfortable, maybe we could send them out into those districts, working with those outside districts to provide some kind of instruction somehow in person, and talking to the parents and letting them know, this is a pandemic. It's something that is all new to all of us. We're all working our way through it, and we just want what's safe for our teachers and staff, and let them know that there's just going to have to be comp time. There's going to be comp time, and we're going to take care of it, and we're just doing the best that we can right now. Because, I know we're all concerned about vape and providing for kids, but I feel like with some of the staff that is comfortable, surely, maybe we could work something out safely, because, being in the red is just, I feel like with all of our kids coming in from so many areas, it's a little bit scary. So,
Yeah. And we do have
appreciate that feedback.
We do have
Go ahead,
students we have students that are in districts that are also red from, I was just looking at the most recent map. They haven't uploaded from the 18th yet, but the 17th is the most recent map. And, you just sort of see this trickle of red that is kind of traveling around the state. And we do have kids who are currently in red districts as well. We have had discussions with a couple of students that live, and I know you all know this, but at KSB, we don't have the staff, nor do we have the fiscal resources to hire staff to go out and to teach and work directly with kids, because we have kids from McCracken County to Greenup County. And our teachers are also providing virtual instruction for students. And as you know, our outreach staff does not do direct service. So, we don't have, excuse me, a lot of alternatives for sending staff out to work with kids, and we are doing that. I would like to say that we do have some staff that are going to see kids. We are continuing to do evaluations, functional vision learning media assessments, and O&M assessments. So we are doing some of that. But again, I don't have the staff to say, hey, I want you to go to whatever county out east. But we are working with districts to collaborate with the teachers to, if we can't bring kids back into small groups, to collaborate with the districts on providing, specially designed instruction for the students. And
so Carol, I have a question. Is it Carol or Carol Ann? I don't know.
Carol Ann, but it's
Okay,
fine.
Carol
Either
Ann.
one. Yes.
So just so I want to understand the chart, is it that you're in the red for a week and then you go to the next week, and if they're in the red the next week, is that when you would say you would recommend them not being in school, or is it the minute that they go into the red? Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a great question. So right now we're just trying to make the decision of when we come back in person. And so,
right. I'm just
right.
asking
But once we come back, once we come back and once we're back and we're in person learning, we have in our reopening plan that we are then going to review the data. We've been reviewing it daily, but on Thursdays, especially Thursday afternoons, we're going to look at the current data and make a decision for the following week. and we will
Okay.
report that either late Thursday afternoon or first thing Friday morning. And I'll work with Peggy to make sure that whatever that communication method is that we let staff and parents know that. So once we return in person, we'll start looking at that each week to see if we continue in the same plan or if we have to make changes. Is that
Okay.
what you were asking?
Well, so if we go back and that Thursday, Jefferson County's in the orange, and then say they come back that Thursday and the chart comes out and we're in the red. So is it the recommendation that they start the following week with NTI, or they wait till the following Thursday, and if you're still in the red, then that's when you would start NTI? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And I think what we're planning to do is just make that determination each week based on all the data sources we have.
Okay.
So of course the metric would be one of those, but we're going to look at other sources as well. If we have a lot of staff that are required to quarantine, if we have, a lot of staff out because of that, that may factor into our decisions. There could be lots of different types of information that we bring into that decision.
Okay.
And I just got some sort of statistics on our students. It looks like out of all our students, we have one that lives in a yellow district, a district that's yellow, 24 are in orange zones, and 39 are in red zones.
How many were in orange, did you say?
24.
Sorry, I'm supposed to be taking notes and I'm just listening and chatting.
Okay.
Just in my own world.
Peggy, this is Gary. Quick question about the small groups. If they come back or not, I presume there'll be a lot of separation, individualized placements, things like that. Will they be in the dorm?
Yeah, so great question, Gary. So there could be some students in the dorm, and right now, the way our dorm director, Allison Chandler, has it, each student will have their own room.
Mhm.
They will have to share bathrooms possibly, but if we have, with a small number of kids, they would be able to have their own bathroom.
Good.
And yeah, that what, again, the small groups, we will try to keep them as isolated, and I hate that word, but it is what it is. Keep them as separated as much as we can. But, as you know, with some of our kids, we can't. Some of our kids need human guide, or with Braille instruction, they need that hand under hand instruction. So, and some of our kids just don't understand the concept of 6 feet is very
Sure.
difficult. So, but no, that's a great question, Gary. Thank you. Did I answer it?
Yes,
Okay.
as best we can.
Yes.
Yep.
And what is the recommendation for one-to-ones? Is it still gloves and masks and shields and gowns?
Yes, that's the guidance that, everybody will need to wear a mask on campus, but again, we recognize that there's students that can't or won't wear masks. But staff will be required to wear masks. They can wear a face shield as well, but if students need help in the restroom, we have surgical gowns, we have caps, we have booties.
Okay.
So we have, we've got PPE galore here. So it's like PPEs are us, like Toys R Us, but PPE are us. So, which is good, because I know that was an issue in the spring that wasn't available. So,
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
What about like cleaning protocols during the day and after school?
So we're going to work with a contract company to come in once a week to deep clean. We do have, again, John has provided, I think it's 5-gallon buckets of sanitizer and wipes in each classroom. So, things will have to be wiped down. Teachers will have to wipe down their own classrooms. So, we'll be following all the cleaning protocol guidelines as best that we're able. So
Sorry, this is a weird question, but do you know how many, like, what's the breakdown of elementary and middle and high school?
Ooh, I don't know that number. I can probably get it by the end of the meeting.
I just wondered what our, littles were compared to.
Yeah. We do have actually, which to me is exciting, we have a group of kindergartners. We have 5 kindergartners. And again, they will not be required to wear masks just because of
Right.
their age. So we have a pretty, a bigger group of elementary kiddos than we've had in a while.
Right.
So
That is exciting.
And
will we still be doing, I'm totally missing the name, but where Kirsten and,
short term?
yes, thank you.
So short-term short course. I don't believe we're going to start that until January if we're back in school.
Okay.
But then the neat thing, I would like to kind of bring that up, the short course teachers, Jess Belcher and Kirsten Price, they have been doing producing videos on the expanded core curriculum. And those are on the KSB YouTube channel. They've been consulting with teachers out in the districts. So I know that they had a meeting with the Texas School for the Blind short term. Some of the teachers there to kind of get some ideas. So they've been doing some really kind of neat things. They're also setting up a room here on campus, which has where the students can go and work on the daily living skills, such as how do you make a bed, how do you sweep the floor, how do you clean, things like that. So they've been setting that up, which is really neat to have that.
They can send that to Alex. That would
Okay.
be great.
Okay.
And Abby.
You be scary again. Do you know if the teachers are aware of the Excel Academy that APH is doing 3 days a week?
I would say I don't know if all the teachers are aware of it, but I know that Martin has been good about sending that information out.
Okay, good.
Because that is such a great resource, and also the webinars that APH has put out. They put out some fantastic webinars for teachers. So yeah, I'll make sure to resend that out so that teachers know about it.
Good.
Gary, can you tell us what Excel Academy is, just because I don't know?
Our new outreach person has organized throughout the summer some 1 hour, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 1 hour on, I think Tuesday is for the preschool to first grade, I believe. Anyway, I'll get more information to you all. But we break it up into 3 groups: elementary, middle, high school.
It's optionally correct.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Sorry, that's my husband.
oh, okay. Sorry. We understand. Then we're doing them every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for 1 hour between 2 and 3 o'clock. And it's just to help support the teachers in this strange time that we're in those different areas of elementary, middle, and high school, with content to help the teachers. I'll ask Leanne Grillat, is her name, to send some of that information to you as well, Brandy.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess those are the updates. Everything kind of revolves around COVID right now, unfortunately, but it has been nice to see some kids on campus, and every time I see a child, I run towards them and probably scare them, just because I'm so excited to see someone, to see the kids. And I know teachers are anxious and nervous about everything, and but who isn't? We all are. So yeah, those are all the updates I have, unless anybody has any other questions about anything.
I guess I'd just like to say, Peggy, I think that the staff is doing a great job. That, the NTI system or whatever y'all have worked out this time is really great. And the teachers have really done a great job as far as explaining and really working with the kids and breaking things down and taking their time and not overwhelming them, you know, with work. And we actually have Connie coming for OT or O&M, and she's amazing. And, you know, it's not that last time wasn't great. It was good, but this time is even better. And it's, you know, it's hard to say that with NTI. And he's getting all of his services, which, you know, a lot of schools can't say. So I just pass that on, that they're all doing a great job. And
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think the teachers have really, you know, they've done an amazing job, and I think it's really pushed some out of their comfort zone as far as technology, and I think people have really learned a lot about themselves during this. So I really appreciate that feedback, because they're, you know, they're working really hard. So I guess I need to update on O&M. So we do have Connie Hill, who is our only certified O&M specialist right now.
oh yeah.
And you know, Connie is amazing, and Connie like is an Energizer bunny. You know, she just keeps going and going, but she's only one person, so unfortunately she can't provide O&M for all students. And she's also our low vision therapist too, so she, you know, has that responsibility as well. So we're kind of in talks with a couple of folks and working with the UK to maybe bring some interns in who would be supervised by Dr. Brostick Lee and Dr. Kaiser, who are over the TVI and O&M program. Because as you know, it's really, really hard to find O&M folks. They don't just drop out of the sky, unfortunately. And I think what has happened, a lot of O&M students weren't able to do their internships. So again, there's that pool of people who aren't available. So we're trying to, you know, be creative and talk to a couple people, and, you know, working on recruiting. And I think next steps will be reaching out to different university programs around the US and let them know that, you know, we need somebody. So that's kind of where we are with that. And yeah, I mean, we will have some definite comp ed services for students regarding that.
I know at the McDowell Center there in Louisville, we haven't had an O&M for 2 years, I think, because we just can't find anybody willing to move to Kentucky to work for the salary. So I can certainly appreciate how difficult that is when there's just that nationwide shortage. It's not a good situation anywhere, but when you're a residential school, I would say that's probably a lot more important because of, you know, the environment that they're in. So certainly appreciate what you've been going through with that.
Yeah, thank you. And I keep thinking of these things. One last thing, I spoke with Mike Hudson over at APH on Friday. He is over the museum, and he's the archivist. And for those of you that don't know him, he has all the history of all the blindness things in his brain. So, you know, he's just really, he's a wonderful speaker if you ever get the chance to hear him speak. But I kind of came up with this idea, and I need to meet with Charitable about producing a video about the history of KSB, because we have Paula Penrod in our KIMRC, but she's kind of the holder of all KSB history, but she's going to retire soon. And so I got this kind of harebrained idea. Wouldn't it be neat to produce a video of the history of KSB and have it on the website? You know, just something I'm starting to think about. And I met with Mike, and we talked about, you know, maybe doing some little webinars and starting by featuring, you know, all the buildings on KSB and the benches. They're all named after somebody who had significant meaning to KSB. And Gary probably, he knows way more about this than I do, but I really think it's important when you work at a residential school for the blind to understand the history and to understand why the schools are here and why you're here. So Mike's going to start sending me like old pictures every week, and then I'm going to try to do like a throwback Thursday to staff to say, you know, oh, this is let me pull a name out. You know, Lydia Scoggin, which is one of the elementary building was named after Lydia Scoggin. This is who she was. This is her significance to KSB. So I just think, you know, I just think it's really important for the staff to understand the good history and the not so good history of the school. And so I'm really excited about it, but I love history. And so I guess I'm a little bit selfish on that part because I you know, to me,
That's
this
not
is going to be fun.
selfish at all, Peggy. That's a good idea.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Great.
Not a bad idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so that's it for me. I'll quit talking.
I believe our next thing on the agenda is our update from KDE. So I will turn that over.
All right, Janelle, was that the facilities update or is that for me to go ahead?
I believe both are covered underneath that. So whichever one of
Okay.
you wants to go first.
T, if you want to go ahead, that's fine.
Okay, good, because I've got some things here on campus in Danville with a project. So yeah, thank you for giving me time to be a part of your meeting today and to update you and share on some good things that are happening on KSB's campus. Probably one of the biggest project we have going right now is the Hauser Hall camera project. You know, that's the building that we renovated a couple of years ago. And in the life cycle of that building, while it was down and dormant, the school had to pull the cameras from there to make the rest of the campus safe. And so we've worked with Jason and Leanne and a vendor, and they're in the, you know, we're in this process of using all new technology, and that'll take us from the digital cameras up to the analog and make all of our security a lot better in that area. And once we get that complete, then the next phase is to look to, we have unit pricing. So we'll look at the rest of the campus and replacing those cameras, but all the hardware and the storage in those servers will be new. So that'll help facilitate this at a more reasonable cost. So we're pretty excited about that and thankful and appreciative to Jason and Leanne for all the legwork they did to get quotes and help get us to where we are today to make that building more security and hopefully safer for our kids when they do return. Langdon Gym project is complete. We did electrical updates and upgrades down in the gym. And then we took all the bleachers out and those have all been redone, the brand new. And we're really excited about that because when we were doing the color schemes with the school colors, red and black was nice, but from a visual standpoint, it was a little bit of inhibiting. So we worked with students there that, you know, with low vision and got a lot of input with them and our manufacturers. So when you look into that gym, if you're down there, you'll notice the end seats are white. And that is so that the students with low vision can determine where the seats begin and end and make it more accessible to them. So we're very appreciative that the students were able to give us some input and help us through that project. We're getting ready to do, I signed off on a Ritchie Hall project the other day. We're going to do $485,000 to do some external water remediation work and brick. We're getting water in behind the brick. You'll notice that the faces are popping off on some of them. So we're going to do a project there to remediate that and secure the envelope of the building and get that dried in. And then we'll look to do some other projects. Evans Hall, we have some issues there with some roof leaks. And so part of our capital money from the legislature in this last budget session, we're using that. We're doing an RFP right now so that we can get an architect on board. We're going to actually use them in Danville and Louisville because it should save us some money. And we have some data that's already out there and to do some new roofs and HVA systems, not just at Evans Hall, but as far as our money will go across the campus. Then finally, we have a special project that we're collaborating with. there was a request from some parents to KSB Charitable Foundation about a playground renovation project. And so what we're doing is we've had good communication, and they're going to put up $125,000. And once we have that deposit into KSB, then I can start a project. By statute, I can't do anything until the money's in the account. And so we've been working through that. There's some emails that have gone back and forth, and we'll get that designed, and then we can get it out to bid, and hopefully get a really good playground area in there for our kids to use. That will be something a little more safe than railroad ties and mulch. We're looking to do a better playground, more accessible to them, and give them something that they can enjoy. So we're excited about this partnership that we're working on. And again, with all these projects, COVID has been a little bit of a thorn because of being on site and communication, and then people not being at work. So we're working to get that done. And the nice thing is, if we were to get it in under cost, which has really been a challenge lately, any money that's left over goes back to charitable. So we'll work with them to make this project happen, and we're just very appreciative of their willingness to partner with us. So once we get the money deposited there at KSB, and I can get a code set up, an account, then we can begin with an architect and get some drawing and designs, and we can get a cost estimate out to bid and see if we can make that a go for the kids. So other than some big projects, once we get the RFP on the other roofs and HVAC systems, then I'll have more to update, but we have to have that architect on site to do that first. And that's the bigger pool of money, 15 million or 13 million from the legislature to be split between the two schools. So, that's always a good thing in this day and time to get a little extra money. So if you have questions, I'll certainly be glad to try to answer those the best I can. And we'll go from there.
Mr. T, this is Gary Mudd. I had the cameras for Hauser. Are they for internal viewing or external outside the building? Or both?
Yes, they're both. I mean, we're working
okay.
to get, all the cameras there were pretty much scavenged out across the campus. So Jason and Leanne, we've looked, they have a blueprint and how to best monitor the entrance and inside the building and then exterior, so that it provides a much cleaner, safer viewing for our kids, and especially on an open campus where we have the potential for people to walk through campus. So we'll be able to see that and monitor it in a lot better proximity.
Good. Thank you.
Any more questions for T?
And if you do have questions, certainly you can email me. That's fine. I'll be glad to always give you a response to whatever your question may be. We've worked with John. We've done a lot of other small projects. What we're trying to do, I'll just update you. There are some old capital accounts that have small pockets of money in them, and working with John there at KSB. And we're trying to do as many projects as we can through these old monies that I have access to, so that it will limit the amount that they're having to come up with out of their current budget, because all budgets are tight. And so we've worked really close with John. There's 2 or 3 projects that are going on. I think there's some HVAC duct work and some other things that we've been able to scoot over into my project, into codes that I have. And so I appreciate John's his diligence in trying to help find ways to spend this money, because our fear is if we don't spend it, we're going to lose it. It's not going to just get delayed there. It's going to get swept by the Office of State Budget sooner or later. And so we're trying to, anywhere we can stretch the title of the account and make it work for KSB, we're doing that. So I just want to give shout out to John and the job he's doing, and partnering with me and keeping me up to date on what he's needing, and can we get some of these things done that are needed and save the money in their budget for other costs. If you don't have other questions for me, I'll I'll back out of your meeting and let you continue on. But again, thank you for what you're doing. I know it's a difficult time, and there's a lot of unknowns on everybody's end. As I always say, I just do facilities, but on our end as well, it's really a challenge. They're trying to start school back here in Danville, and I've got contractors on site, so I'm going over. They've tried to text me, to make sure that we can facilitate that. So when you're in session, we'll make our projects work around your schedules and get as much done as we can. And I just thank you all for giving your time and your energy to help all of our kids.
Thank you.
Thank you, T.
All right,
Thanks,
take care, everyone.
Janelle, do you want me to go ahead?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
great. So since this is my first meeting with you all, I wasn't sure exactly what you would want to know from KDE. So I will say that if there's ever any information that you want me to share for upcoming meetings, feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to bring any information to you that would be helpful. I did want to share with you some work that has been happening in the Office of Special Education and Early Learning regarding a web page for parents. I think there's been some really good work done lately by some of our staff in the office. They have created 2 different web pages. If you go to the KDE full web page and go to exceptional children and then special education, there is, I wrote it down so I tell you correctly. There's a page for parent and family resources and then parent and family rights. And both of those pages have been created specifically for parents in trying to utilize all the tools that would be helpful to parents if they were looking for more information regarding special education, down to the basics. What is special education? How do I have an IEP in place for my child? What are my rights as a parent? What if I disagree with something the school is doing? What rights do I have? There's a lot of information on those pages, and some of our staff have spent a lot of time updating those, so I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then I was going to share with you that we've been putting a lot of time and effort into our reopening plans, and I think Peggy did a great job of sharing that and the plans that we have around that. We do have a reopening plan document. We are revising it just a little bit with input from the local health department. So once we have it updated, we will share that with everyone as well. They're providing us some information regarding quarantining versus isolating and what's the difference and when does all that need to occur. And so we wanted to add that to our plan because we were getting lots of questions from staff, and then we thought that that might be helpful to parents as well as we look towards reopening in the future. So that's the big information I had for you today, but I'm happy to answer questions if you have that, or to bring other topics to you further, in future meetings.
I'm not sure if this would be appropriate for your websites that you're doing, but I wanted to offer it.
Okay.
Voc Rehab recently did a series of short videos, relatively short. One of them is about the pre-employment transition services. We've got one that's an overview of what Voc Rehab is.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is about supported employment. I don't know if those would be helpful for families.
Okay. Are they available on your website somewhere?
They are on YouTube. I can send
Okay.
you the link. UK worked with us on doing those, and I think they're finally official. So
I can pass that information on to our consultant that's been working on that webpage and see if there would be a place where that would fit, or that we could link to it to see if that would be helpful. I'd be happy to do that.
I just wanted to offer it because I know
Thank you.
The pre-employment transition services one is, I know we're working very closely with KDE and getting an agreement of how that will look. And I think that one will be really helpful, and quite possibly just the overview of kind of what OVR does and how you get involved and what to expect. So I will send you the link.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Janelle.
You're welcome.
I have a couple of things, of course, because I talk a lot.
Sure, that's fine.
First of all, I think it would be really great if KDE could send out an intro about you and Jane to the
Okay.
parents, because, I think it would be wonderful to introduce y'all and tell about, who you are, and, what your history is, where you came from. I know that they probably don't have a lot of contact with you. But Jane's been there since the beginning of the year, and she's having meetings with people, and they're
Sure.
probably like,
Who is
is
this?
this our new dose?
Gotcha.
What's going on?
Sure.
This very vocal woman is, in our meetings, and I don't know what's going on. And she has a lot of special ed history, and is very knowledgeable. And I think it would be great if parents knew that, and, kind of knew that she just isn't thrown into this position, that she really does bring a lot of experience to the table. And I think that, that would be great for them to know.
Thank you.
That's
That's a
just
good
me.
point.
And also something that I think that my daughter's school is doing with COVID is they have a whole separate area on their website and emails that they send out that's just called like Healthy at School. And they have a separate team that's set up that meets and talks about COVID and things they're going to do at school, and it has their opening plan on there. And if there's a COVID case, I get just a Healthy at Mercy or whatever email, and it says we have a case at school and whatever. But
Do you find that
it's-
helpful as a
I
parent
do
to
find
have
it,
that
'cause
one
it's
page?
not, just that separate page. And maybe you're doing that, and it just hasn't been updated yet. But something that just has, and I get emails all the time that our COVID team has met. This is what it's made up of when it first started. I think it's just helpful for parents, that's separate from this is School for the Blind, and this is our update, and then this is separate,
So I can answer that
Thank you.
somewhat. We do have a new section on our website, which is COVID related, everything related to COVID-19. And it has, our reopening plan is not on it yet, again, because we are updating that, but it has all the communications that have gone out. And but I mean, those are good ideas when we do have kids on campus. I think I sort of struggle a little bit, because we have kids all over the state, of how to best get that communication out to families. So we email, we have the one call.
Yeah.
We have some families that really don't have good internet, or they don't check, they don't have email. So we mail letters out, but those are some really, really good ideas for when we do have kids on campus. So.
Well, even this would be, updated if these are the things that we're going to do when we do return.
Right.
Because like when I got the thing about we're thinking about returning, I still had those questions in my head of how are they going to do lunch? How are, I still had those questions on how are these things going to be done, because all we got was we're going to return.
And that's in our reopening plan. That's detailed, step by step of, how everything will be done. So we do need to get the revised one up, and we will send that out to everybody. But no, those are some really good points, Brandy.
I agree.
Can you just be perfect all the time, Peggy?
Wouldn't it be nice if we all could?
Right?
That's hard.
Peggy, you mentioned the one call. What is that?
So one call is, I don't know how to describe it other than an app. I don't know if it's sort of an app, and we pay for it. So parents sign up for it using their phone number. So if you put in the information, it sends out a text and an email and a phone call too to everybody that's signed up for it. I don't know if you've ever heard of Remind.
Yeah.
If anybody's heard of Remind. It's
Okay.
similar to that. Remind, it's just an app that you parents sign up for, and information goes out
I see.
to a multiple, in multiple ways.
It's one message to all parents that have signed up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Good.
So just wondering, how do y'all know how many people, like how many kids that we have that maybe don't have access to internet or maybe don't access their emails, or I
So
just wonder.
we did, again, contacted every family and found out that there are families that don't have internet or have very, very weak internet. So we provided, through KDE, provided hotspots.
Is that maybe like 20%? You know,
I would have to go back and look. I want to say we provided 6 to 7 hotspots. And then we did have one family who lives in a county that has this bizarre internet satellite. They can only get satellite internet. So Jason and Leanne worked with their contact at KDE, and then they worked with this. We found out that this family, T-Mobile, is in that area, so they were able to set up internet for that student. But it did take some time.
right.
Yeah, I know the satellite
Yeah.
internet is not very reliable,
Yeah.
but when you don't have other options, that
Yeah. No, I was just wondering what that looked like.
Peggy, a quick question, this is Gary again.
Mhm.
How many parents are struggling with having kids at home and needing to work? Have you gotten any feedback from those parents?
That's a really good question, Gary. We haven't gotten specific feedback. I know I'm 100% positive that there are families out there that are struggling. I know of a couple in particular, that single parent families, and the student is responsible. Our student is maybe a middle or high school student, and they're responsible for some younger siblings. So I know that is occurring. I know we have staff. Everybody has, during this, has staff who has one, husband or wife has to go to work, and so the other one's at home teaching, doing NTI, and their kids are also on NTI, so they're responsible for that. So I can't give you definite numbers, but I do know of some families, like I said, especially single family ones, where the parent has to work, or I know of one student who lives with grandparents, and they don't understand. They have difficulty using the computer and the technology, so that student is responsible for getting younger siblings on the computer as well as doing his own work.
Real world.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we need to know or want to know with the KDE update?
I don't think so. Thank you for joining us, Carol Ann.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I think the only thing we have left on the agenda was public comment, but we did not have anyone sign up for that. Those of you on YouTube, if you are interested in commenting at any of the meetings, we are sending out press releases on meeting dates and how to join. We just need to know ahead of time if you desire to make a public comment, but that is an option. Other than that, I don't know. I don't have anything else. I don't know if anyone else does or not.
Oh, sorry. I do have one thing. Sorry. If if we have a teacher that needs to quarantine, will we have a problem getting subs, or will that be an issue?
Yeah, so,
Or have y'all worked that out, or?
so our HR director, Joy Mills, she's going to reach out to all of our subs.
Okay.
Most of our subs are in the high risk area. So as far as age wise, but she is going to reach out to them to see if they're still willing to sub.
I wondered about them being in the high risk age group because it seems like a lot of subs are older because a lot are retired teachers, it seems like. So
Okay. I just didn't know if y'all discussed that if a teacher went into quarantine, will they, mix groups, or I don't know.
Yeah, we have discussed that, and it is a concern, and I think Carol Ann brought it up as that's one of the factors we look at if we have
Okay.
a lot of staff quarantining, and because we are a small school, so.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I swear I have nothing else.
Peggy, I'd just like to say that you've probably questioned several times why you became principal during these times. And I just want you to know that we appreciate what you're doing. We know it's tough, but we know it's important. And if you need any help from any of us, please let us know.
Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that, Gary. And yeah, I guess I took the job going into, knowing that COVID was here and wasn't going away. But I think once COVID, whenever that is, COVID is not the forefront of everything. I'll be kicking up my heels and doing split leaps down the halls of KSB. And,
Can you record that?
Yeah, sure. Not that we're not, we're still doing the work that we need to do, but yeah, so, I'm happy to be here. I feel like this is where I was meant to be. And, I appreciate Carol Ann's support and all of y'all's support. So thank you.
absolutely.
Okay.
So I guess probably after the first of the year, we'll have our next meeting unless something comes up that we need to meet sooner. We can probably send something out maybe the end of next month about when may be good, although I know planning ahead too far is really difficult right now, but we will do that. And I don't have anything else, so.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, Janelle, go ahead. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Gary, second.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.